Welcome back to another episode of Fika Brunch and Business. What's new about this week?
Oh, straight in. Very subtle. So here we have a lovely mini bottle of Moët, and that is from our lovely one and only Sophie Knox.
Sophie Knox, shout out to you.
Sophie Knox, shout.
Thank
I feel like we shout out Sophie a lot.
I think she deserves it though.
Yeah. Main gal Sophie, who is our manager, as everyone knows, most people probably know, bought us 2 of these it was our birthday yesterday, not mine and Evo's joint birthday, but it was Fika Stanford's first birthday yesterday, which is kind of crazy.
Happy birthday, Fika Stanford.
Happy birthday, Fika Stanford. So she bought us some lovely celebratory champagne. Why are you laughing?
I'm just looking at her.
It's always So
Sorry,
we
Rowan.
thought this was a great opportunity to crack open the champagne.
Yeah, which we're going to do now.
Go on. So
No
while
pressure.
you're doing that, I'm not just going to sit here and stare at you because I feel like that's a bit awkward.
Mm.
But what's new? What's been going on this week other than Fika Stanford's first birthday?
Yeah,
That was
Fika
only
Stanford's
yesterday.
first birthday. Did we do anything special for Fika? We did some mini cinnamon buns.
Mini cinnamon buns.
Which went down really well.
Minimum buns.
Minimum buns. I felt like they went down really well, but I also feel like that's because they were free.
Yeah.
Not to say that they weren't good. Like they were
Yeah.
very good.
Woo! As always, Evo pours himself out.
Anything else?
Very quick. I get a ration of champagne.
Oh my god! It's because you're not drinking, are you?
No, am I not?
I don't know. That's what you said to me.
Oh, I
Do you
take
want
it
a bit
back.
more?
Yes, please. Yeah. So minimum buns went down a treat. What else has been going on? The door from Wolfox reception into Fika Wolfox went in today,
Yeah,
and that's a big moment because that's now
huge.
that's basically Fika finished.
It's a sealed space.
It is it's a really odd way to say it. It's but it's basically finished now, our bit.
Yeah.
Fika. It's not. They're still finished, but now the finishing touches can happen.
Mhm.
Whereas before they were waiting on the door. All a massive poem.
Cheers to that.
I'm a
Cheers to
serious
doors
talent.
and birthdays
And everything
and
more.
poems.
But yeah, that was a big moment. So I've seen pictures of that. I've not seen it in person yet.
Mm.
And you've seen pictures of it, not seen it in person.
I've
But
not,
we
no.
will be there as soon as we can to see it.
Probably
Very
next week.
exciting. Yeah. What else?
What else has been going on this week? Don't know. I feel like a lot of our life revolves around the opening of Wolfox now.
Yeah.
Preparations for that.
Yeah.
Again, we've had a lot of staff coming
Yeah.
forward. We've,
Yeah, we talked about this a
had-
bit in the last podcast, didn't
Yeah.
we? That's just kind of continued.
but
so-
now you'll actually see some new faces.
Yeah.
New faces in the cafe.
Some new great faces.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love to see it. So now I think it's a positive step because it feels like we can step away from the day-to-day operation, particularly here in Stamford, because
Yeah.
we've been a little bit short-staffed, but now we can...
It was getting a little bit sketchy at one point where we were having to do almost
Yeah.
full time.
And
God
think
forbid.
about Wolfox.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, we've not given as much thought to Wolfox as we should really about the opening. So now it feels like from the start of next week, we can really crack
We're
on with that,
sorted.
finish it off,
Yeah.
get everything in, get all the equipment in.
Get
and
moving.
Get moving. Yeah.
Are
What
we going
else?
to say about the evenings?
Whoa. Well,
When-
by the time that this comes out, we will have announced it
That's
on
true.
Instagram. So
That's true.
let's.
We spoke about this
Any moment.
in a podcast.
Oh, yes, we did. We did a little teaser, didn't
Probably
we?
months ago.
Yeah.
That we were planning to do some evening stuff,
Yeah.
and it didn't come to fruition just because why didn't it come to fruition? I think we were assessing how to do it and
Yeah.
when's the best time to do it.
We didn't really
And then
have
we
a
went
chef
back and
to
forth a
do
little
it.
bit. Yeah. It just felt a little bit scrappy.
We didn't have it. This was the point that we were a little bit short-staffed. So we were kind
Yeah.
of like, how are we going to do this and work in the cafe and get Wolf Fox up and running and do the kitchen. And, it was all quite scrappy.
Yeah.
And then it feels like everything aligned a little bit.
It did.
We have found...
I think we decided to go ahead with it.
Yeah.
And then
this
once
is what
we
you
decided,
said.
Yeah.
In fairness, I hold my hands up here and I'm happy to say I was wrong.
Yeah.
Because you said we should just decide to do it, put it in the diary, commit to it, and then things will fall into place. And I was like, no, because we need to... Which I think was also a fair point. I think it was also like... Because we didn't want to get to the date and be like, oh, shit, we have no one to work this.
Yeah.
And we can't do it properly. But yeah, so we decided to do it, committed to a date, which has now changed anyways. But we've now got some more staff. We've got a very promising chef who is going to do those for us. So it's all kind of aligned, and it all seems to be working now. The pieces of the
puzzle seem to
have fallen into place.
They have.
Yeah.
So we're planning that. Should we say the date? Let's not say the date just yet.
Let's not say the date.
But it will be
soon,
within the next month.
Yes.
It's
going to be great cocktails made by yours truly. That being Evo, for anyone who's listening and not watching. Great food, small plates kind of thing. But we're not going to do... Like, everyone does cocktails in small plates. It's a little bit boring, let's be honest. It's been done many times before. We'll do some different stuff.
Yeah, we'll try and do it. It will be... Would you say it would be mainly... The main focus will be on the cocktails?
Yeah. And the small... I'd say the bites will be... You know when you have a drink?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I'm a bit peckish now. And you want to eat something.
Yeah.
But you don't really necessarily want a meal. You just want something almost to snack on while you have your drink.
Yeah.
It will be that kind of thing. So it'll be almost like snacky food, but cool snacky food, like Bao Bunny kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and,
nice.
I mean, I'm not going to give everything away here, but that kind of stuff. So it'll be good.
I think it will be just enough for someone. Even if someone wanted to come out for dinner and they couldn't find a place somewhere, I think you would probably be able to put something together just about to have a dinner.
Yeah.
But it won't be like you come in, it's
you get a main meal.
Down, you get a main meal.
And it will be, I feel like we're also going into it with the idea of people sharing stuff. Mm-hmm. So we'll have a very limited selection of food on the menu. It will be only like 4 or 5 things.
Yeah.
But say if a table of 4 come in, they can have a couple of each, and that will probably be enough for a light meal.
Yeah. I think so.
Line the stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
Yeah, and it'll be just vibey and fun. We'll play some great music.
Mm-hmm.
Have a great time. We've nailed a frozen margarita now.
We have by accident.
By accident after our staff party. This is like the Aperol Spritz all over again. You had no faith in me, and I pulled through.
That's not entirely true.
I put this up in the blender and you were like, that's not going to work.
I expressed some concerns.
Seconds later, we had a great frozen margarita in front of us. True or false?
True, but now we don't have any blenders. We broke
them maybe it was the margaritas that sent them over the edge.
I think it was. No, I think actually it worked out to be a great margarita.
So that's definitely going to be
because we were like, oh, we'll do some cocktails. And we had loads of alcohol left from previous parties. Because we just don't drink that much. And I was like, oh, what can I do? I don't have my cocktail shaker. And you're like, why don't we just chuck a load of things in a blender and make frozen margarita? And I was like, oh, it's not really. And then we made it, and then it was actually really good, and everyone really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So that will be being added to the menu.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's everything for updates, really.
Yeah, I think so.
Any personal updates? Not personal, but how's your... I don't know. How are you feeling after your half marathon?
I did a half marathon.
Have you signed up for the next one yet?
No, I think my shins were really hurting after that, but not in a shin splints kind of way. There was a very particular pain, pinpointed, kind of like middle of my shin. Don't know if I had to go into that much detail, but
any doctors out there, please go ahead and type in.
If you're a qualified doctor, please get
about 3 centimeters below the knee.
So I haven't been doing much running or anything because of that. I have been sticking to my gym.
Nice.
I'm doing some personal training
Yeah,
sessions,
nice.
keeping
Love that.
going with those. That's going really well, I would say.
Nice.
Yeah,
Still building on that strength.
I am.
Good.
Trying to.
Yeah,
trying
good.
to.
We love
Very
to
happy.
hear it.
Very
Yeah.
happy with that. You've started a little fitness journey of your own.
I have yet the latest one. No, I'm joking. I was saying to you, I've not been to the gym in ages because I've had like a couple of short workouts and short stints, but I've really not felt like doing it. Like no part of me has felt motivated or has wanted to go and exercise.
Yeah.
So I've just been like, I know this is terrible for your health, but all I've been doing is walking and a bit of yoga.
Walking's not terrible for you.
No, but as in like not doing any other exercise.
Fair.
But I have been doing like the occasional bit of yoga a couple of times a week. And also I think we're quite lucky with our job.
Yeah, that we do get to.
When you don't sit, I think I would feel very differently if I sat at a desk all day and didn't do any kind of movement. I'd probably feel a lot more. But anyways, yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I was like, do you know what? I would really like to get back into it. Like I actually feel like I want to. And I'm really glad that I waited until I felt like that because I don't feel like I'm forcing myself to do it.
No.
I really enjoyed doing it. And I'm doing like a real mix of stuff. So I'm doing like a bit of yoga, a bit of like other stuff. And yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. I look forward to doing it. I've also been exercising in the morning, which I used to hate. And I love it. Mainly because I think I have the ability to talk myself out of anything. And if I do it when I'm still half asleep, when my alarm goes off at like a stupid time,
Yeah.
and I force myself, and also because I'm like having to drive to the gym I'm going to at the moment. By the time I get there, there's actually no point of me not doing it.
Yeah.
So I just get in, do it, and then I'm like, oh, now I've like done it. And this evening I can, when I've done my work, I can just chill out.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite nice. I don't need to go home, psych myself up for an hour, spend an hour getting dressed into gym clothes, and then decide not to go. Yeah, so
That's good.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not like putting any pressure on it. I'm just going to keep
See how it
going
goes.
while I enjoy it.
Yeah,
and
nice.
stop when I don't.
Love it. We love to hear it.
So let's get into today's topic, which, as previously stated, has been chosen by you.
It has been chosen by me. And it is my favourite topic in the whole wide world. How often do I talk about this?
That I would say at least daily.
Every opportunity.
Anyone who doesn't like opinionated people, I'd say this is your cue to switch off.
No, because do you know what? I'm opinionated, but I'm also very open to conversation.
I agree.
And I can see both sides of an argument.
And I don't think you're unreasonable in your opinions. Like,
No.
I don't think your opinions are anything offensive or outrageous or anything like that. You believe what you believe in.
And this all based on my experiences and the reality.
True. And
I've had.
you can actually speak from your point of view and from things that you've experienced.
People are thinking now, what is this topic?
Anyways, so big reveal.
We're going to talk today about education.
That's it.
And that's it.
That's it.
Education, the education industry.
System.
What
are we talking? Are we talking just
I
the
wanna
UK
cover-
education system, the worldwide education system? Because I don't think we can compare the education system in the UK to the education system in Kenya, for example.
Maybe let's stick to what we know.
Yep.
And go for the UK education system.
We do
But I
also have
wanna-
experience in the Kenyan education
Oh, we
system.
do.
Yeah, well, no, it's probably good to touch on because for anyone who doesn't know, we grew up in Africa. You've lived in South Africa, Namibia, Kenya, Bulgaria, and the UK. Anywhere else? Any more?
I think that is it.
Stop that. And this is a family-friendly podcast.
When I was in Kenya, I used to speak with a Kenyan accent. So I just want the customers.
I don't know where the boundary is there with
to see what it was.
No, I think no. I don't think you could do that.
Rowan disagrees.
Anyways.
Rowan's like, no. Move on.
And then I've lived in all the same places, bar South Africa. So we've had experience in a few different countries. All quite different countries as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
I mean, I can't remember my Namibian education days. I don't have a lot to say on that.
No. And also, even in Kenya, we went to British schools. Were they British schools? No?
I went to a British school, but that was after you'd moved to England. So, and it was very different to the other school we went to. So,
yeah. True,
but let's talk mainly on the UK education system and what our experiences are.
And I want to cover education
experiences.
from like. Also, I want to talk about alternatives, not just the education system. Alternatives, things like online.
Yeah.
Online courses. You know, you're going to be doing your online law degree soon.
Yeah, coming right up.
And go from there.
Okay, start us off then. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think let's start by talking about our own experiences.
Okay.
So we even though we both ended up in the same place, I think we both took very different paths to get there.
Yeah.
I was very much, when I left school at 18, I was very much the academic. I was very much, let's go to uni. There was no real consideration of any other option for me. I was good at maths and physics, and mainly those kind of, what would you call them? Like
subjects.
Subjects, but like subject. But I mean, like subjects where there's like a right and a wrong answer, like scientific. Yeah, let's call them scientific.
Oh, that's going to annoy me. Scientific, yeah. Measurable.
Measurable.
Non-subjective subject. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like very, not wishy-washy subjects, not like me.
Yeah. So I was very much into those, quite good at those, and I don't think I ever questioned in my mind whether I would be going to uni or not. I think there was always only going to be one path for me.
I think that was also, I mean, I don't know whether this is premature to go into this, but I do think that was influenced by the school.
Yeah.
And I also think that when I was at that stage of like choosing whether to go to uni or not, things had changed in those 3 years between us. I think things were starting to get more, because I think if you think about 10 years before you, going to uni would have been the only option. And then when you were making that decision, it was probably like, oh, you should probably go to uni. But like, there is another option if you want it.
If you really
can't get into uni. And then I think when I was doing it, it was like, you could go to uni or you could go and do other stuff. Like, it's still better if you go to uni, but you could, and this is like, I'm like doing quotation marks, not this is us saying this. So I think it was influenced by that. And I also think the way you were viewed by your teachers and our parents was that it was always
the prime university prospect.
Yeah, and it was always drilled into you that you were really good at maths and really good at physics, and you were doing further maths, and of course you have to do further maths. Like, it would be a shame for you not to do. So I think it was very, like, it was instilled in you from day one of A levels that you were going to uni.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it very, very much was.
Yeah.
And so I went, and I picked engineering because I wanted to do something more practical that wasn't just maths and physics. I wanted to do something that was applied.
Yeah.
And everyone said, if you're good at maths and physics and you want to do something that's applied, you can be an engineer. And also what people said, which probably appealed to me even more than the previous point, was people said, if you're an engineer, you can then pretty much go into anything. And I didn't 100% know that I did want to be an engineer. So it appealed to me to like have my options open a little bit.
That makes sense.
I think where I don't want to go into too much detail, but reflecting on the experience, I think it was a massive waste of time. I'm now 70 grand in debt. And I can't say I regret it, because I wouldn't say that I would ever have known any better in that position. But knowing what I do now, I do wish I had done different things, but in one way or another, like it has also led me to where I am today. Even though, you know, despite the fact that I wouldn't choose it again.
Yeah.
So that's my experience.
Okay.
Tell us about your experience of how you got to here today.
Well, I think probably the best place to start for us specifically, and this is not the same for everyone, but I think as an overview and just a talking point is that we both went down very different routes and we ended up in the same place.
Yeah.
And that won't be the case for everyone.
No.
But it does just go to show that there's not just one way of getting from point A to point B. And there's not just one way of getting a job or owning your own business or whatever.
Yeah.
So my experience was, I think there was, it was maybe not so set in stone as it was for you, but it was, you know, I was going to uni and I really wanted to go to uni, and I was actually going to go to uni in London. And then I do remember then regretting choosing that as my first choice. I was kind of like, oh, do I want to be in London? Don't think so.
Where would you have wanted to be?
Probably somewhere up north. Like I loved Leeds as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably somewhere up north. Even now, I love up north.
Yeah, you do.
I do love London as well, but I just think up north is a different... And I think as a student, because we all know how expensive London is, I just don't see how you can get as much enjoyment out of London being a student, not earning any money or earning very little and just, you know, being in education full time. Anyways, so I then took... I think I always knew I was going to take a year out, work a little bit, do a bit of traveling. Always knew I wanted to travel. But I didn't defer until I had my place accepted, until like, you know, results came out, whatever, because that was just the advice I was given. And then I deferred for a year. And I want to say that when I deferred, I had a sixth sense that it was never going to happen anyway. So like, I'm just going to defer and worry about it later.
Yeah.
And then I found a job at Fika, working 20 hours a week.
Fika,
yeah,
that's so true. Fika was very different back then. To
very
what it is
different.
now.
Yeah. I found a job at Fika, working 20 hours a week, which, as we all know, went very quickly to 40 hours a week, blah, blah, blah. I think we've talked
Always
about this
happens.
on the podcast before.
Yeah.
And then I went traveling. And then I think when I was working and I was in full-time work, and I kind of felt like I don't want to make it sound dramatic, but it felt like I was very in control of my life. I was very in control of my money. I was very in control of my time. And the thought of then going back to school, essentially, I know it's not, I know university's not, but the thought of going back into some kind of routine and structure, I was kind of like, oh, do I want to do that?
Do you know what it is with you? Well, I've noticed.
Am I about to get...
No.
Do you know what your problem is?
Do you know what your problem is? And this is why you didn't go to uni. This is why you're a failure today. Do you know what it is with you?
That's so funny.
You very much have your own mind. And I don't think you like to be in a position, even from an early age, I think this was true with you. I don't think you like to be in a position where someone else is making decisions for you.
Yes.
I don't think you want to be told when to go to a lesson, what to study, what tests you have to do, like what your attendance needs to be, all of that kind of stuff. What the deadline is.
So true.
I think
I've never really thought of that.
No.
But so true. In every aspect. Even now, if I'm working with someone or doing something with someone and they're like telling me how to do it or like trying to give me advice, immediately I'm like, no. Like my heckles go up immediately when someone gives me advice. I'm like, even if it's coming from a good place, I'm like,
I do not want to listen to you.
Yeah, so true.
Never give Tia advice.
No, I think I've become more open to it. I think sometimes it's just the tone of voice that immediately makes me go,
you know,
I'm not.
When it comes to university, I think you were completely right.
Yeah.
Because I think you knew what you wanted and you were willing to put in the work that you needed to do to live that reality.
Yeah.
And you just weren't interested in going into an environment where someone else was dictating what you do.
And I had this moment where I just kind of looked ahead and I thought, okay, I'm going to go from this. And at that point, I was also manager of Fika. So and I was quite young. How old would I have been then?
You were only like 20, 21?
Probably not even 21. Now? I don't know. 23, 24, 24. I'm 24.
24. So we took over Fika when you were 22.
I must have been about 19.
20. Yeah, 19.
19. So I was quite young still.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought, do I want to go from being in this position where
you're the boss,
where I'm a big boss. No, I wasn't the big boss, but where I have some level of responsibility and not autonomy, but more autonomy in my own life.
Yeah.
To then being told when to go and do something and what lectures to go to. And also, I was working in a business and I was going to go to uni and do business management.
Yeah, whereas you were the manager of a business.
I was managing a business. So it kind of, it all just became a bit like, I don't really know if I need to do this. And then I started thinking about the time element of it and the cost element of it. The cost element, less so, because it's obviously not 70 grand you need to fork out then and there. But the time element was like, what if I go and I do this and in a year's time I decide I don't want to do this anymore. I've wasted a year. Or in 4 years' time, I'm like, I wish I hadn't done that. I've wasted 4 years. And obviously that's like, you never know these things until you do them. But I think I had an opportunity then that made a lot more sense for me.
Yeah.
And I chose to go down that route, and it was not taken well by many people.
No.
Many people thought I was making the wrong decision.
Apart from me.
Apart from you. I do remember talking to you about it, and you were like, absolutely. You were like, yes, do it. And there's
here's a question for you. Do you think, because I was going through that point where I was questioning the decision, like my own decision to go to university and the benefits of the whole system. Do you think me talking about that had any influence on your decision, or on at least on your thinking?
I think.
Or do you think you were decided?
I think I was decided, but I feel like I have always looked up to I feel like in a way you have always been a bit of a mentor for me. Not a mentor, but like, because you're older. A mentor. But no, because you're older, you've always been like my older brother. And because then you were like the smart one at school and whatever. And you always made quite wise decisions. Do you remember our grandma always used to say, oh, you're so wise. And then I used to be like, what about me? And she was like, no, but Evo's so wise. So I think I always looked up to you anyways. And I think I decided anyways. And then I spoke to you and you gave me your viewpoint. And that really solidified it. And I think even if you had said, no, I really think you should go to uni, I still probably would have not. But I would have thought about it more and maybe felt a bit like, oh, am I making the right decision? Whereas I think then when I spoke to you after that conversation, I was like, I'm definitely making the right decision. I know I am. I'm going to stick to my guns. And then it all worked out. Here we are.
It did all work out.
A few years on, it's all worked out. I don't have any regrets either. I will say...
Do you think there's anything... Yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, the only thing... And this is a more recent thing, and I think this is only a more recent thing because we worked so hard for so long, and then we took a step back and took a bit of a break, and I was like, oh, what do I do with my free time? The only thing I think I missed out on a little bit is the social element of it. And I do think like I lost some friendships along the way of doing Fika because of my limited availability. And I do think I would have enjoyed having that social life at uni, but then again, maybe not as much as you do have it at uni, you know, not to that full extent.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, and I think now I found a really good mid ground for that. Yeah. Like I have a social life, but I also work. And I think I've like found other ways to do that. So that would be my only singular thing.
That you missed out.
Like, yeah.
A bit of the social
and
life.
I don't even know if I did miss out. You know, like that's an unknown. That's just one thing I look at and I think like, I don't know. It's easy also when all your friends are at uni and for you to look at Instagram and think like,
You're missing out.
they're having such a good time. I've got such bad FOMO. And it's actually not that deep. And a lot of them aren't having that good a time either.
From my personal experience, and I wouldn't say I had the craziest social life ever at uni.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say when I think back on my experience there, I don't think back and think, you know what? Didn't really care that much about my course, but the social life was amazing. I'm so glad. I don't really think that about it. Yeah. I think I could have easily let that go or done something else and had an even better social life.
That's good to know. And I think a year ago I probably would have been in a more like, I do think I would have liked to have that. Whereas I think now, even when I look back on it, I think I would have enjoyed it for a couple of weeks and then I probably would have got bored of it. / I've got a social life now. And I get those aspects in different ways. Yeah. So yeah, that's my quick take on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you think I get from your tone I get from your tone of voice that you disapprove of the education system / do you think that the education system is flawed in some ways?
Yeah.
Why, how would you fix it? All of the above.
So, to make it clear, I don't disapprove of the education system.
Okay.
I disapprove of it as a product for the majority of people.
Yeah.
The way I think about it is I think there's a small subset of people which would benefit from going to university. But I don't think that applies to nearly as many people as are currently on the bandwagon to get to university. And this is also coming from someone who was in that subset of people that was like prime target for universities.
Yeah.
The reason I say that is I think when I did my course, there's people that I can remember looking at and thinking, you are 100% in the right place. That I cannot picture this person in any other scenario. Yeah. Especially when it comes to engineering. I went to Bath. There's some great stuff you can get involved in if you're an aspiring engineer. For example, like the student formula racing team, you get to like basically build your own formula.
That's cool.
I think it's called Formula Student. It's obviously not Formula One.
Take on Lewis Hamilton.
Team Bath, a bunch of 18-year-olds. So that if you're an aspiring engineer to like build a Formula whatever racing car is super exciting. Yeah, I think,
and a very cool experience, I imagine.
Yeah. However, I never got involved in that. I think at the end of my time at university, I started to feel like a bit of a fake, even though I was doing well in my exams, and I ended up getting out with a first.
Shameless plug.
weird flex, but okay.
Just to let you know, I did get a first.
I graduated.
I don't just hate uni because I failed.
But I think it's good. It's good context to know. Like I'm over here having succeeded at uni, but still saying, I don't think it was worth it. I started to feel like a bit of a fake towards the end of it because I could see all these people around me that were hardcore engineers and lived and breathed in engineering, really getting into their thing. And I did better at them at exams, but they're way better engineers than me. Like when it comes to real world applications, I just knew how to pass the exam, but I couldn't tell you anything.
And there probably comes the first and biggest flaw with the education system.
Is that
You just
it's
have to
geared
learn
towards passing exams.
You just have to learn how to pass the You just have to learn how to pass the exams.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter whether you've retained the information, whether you know it, whether you've learnt it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember anything I did at A level
No.
or maths at GCSE. Honestly, if you put an equation in front of me right now, I'd be like, I have no idea how to do that.
Yeah.
Not a clue.
No.
But I got a great result
Yeah.
because I learned how to pass exams. And then as soon as they were over, I was like, oh, I can forget about that now. I never need to think about that again.
Always the funny thing for me in exams, and this started off at school, is people would talk about like how much they're revising. I think it's almost a bit of a competitive thing of like, I revised 9 hours last night.
I pulled an all-nighter revising for my exam in 3 weeks.
And then they get like 23% in the exam. I thought you revised all night. And I think the thing that I did differently to most people, I wouldn't say that I was like necessarily better at certain subjects. And I know for sure for some subjects there were people that knew more than me. But I only ever focused on the exam.
Yeah.
I didn't really care about the information that was being portrayed to me. I was only like, what do I need to know for the exam? What's the most efficient way for me to learn what I need to know for the exam? Let's learn that. And let's do it. So when people were like making some lovely multicolored notes, all I was doing was past papers. And then you figure out after you've done 20 past papers that they're all the same. And all the same questions ever come up. So
I remember that. I used to do so many past papers.
Well, who are you?
No, you.
Me. Yeah.
I used to just have like stacks of maths past papers in your room.
I didn't, when it came to that, people would spend like 3 weeks before that reading their notes. I think I just did.
You literally just did past papers and you'd get like 11 out of 50 on the first one, and then you'd get like 20 out of 50, and then you'd get 25, and then
and then eventually like the thing that would come up in the exam was everything I had seen before, so I knew exactly how to do it.
And that's such a big flaw. That is the most fundamental flaw, I think, in the education system, because it's not teaching you about the subject, or it's not giving you the real knowledge or understanding of a subject. It's almost teaching you a more real world thing of how to do something in the most efficient manner. But I'd rather they just did a life course of how to do something in the most efficient manner. Yeah. How to pay your taxes, how not to get scammed. Like all of that. But instead you're just having to do 50 past papers a day to figure it out. Yeah,
which has got some sort of physics thing in
there.
And
then you've not retained any of the information at the end of it.
What would you say though to people that say, well, the exam is only a part of it. You should be going there to learn the subject, not just to pass the exam. What would you say to that?
I agree, but
ain't nobody got time for that.
Try telling that to a 16-year-old who just wants to go and drink some tinnies in the park with his mates.
You're not allowed to drink at 16. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. A bit of clandestine behaviour. You don't, like, that's great. I agree. At my wise age of 24, I completely agree. And if I was to do school now, yes, I'd be like, oh, I should probably actually learn some of this.
On a serious note, I think this is a good topic because I think a lot of people are highly disengaged with the education system. Be that, and I think it starts from a very young age. Okay. And I would say it's like upwards of 50% of people that just do it because they have to be there, but they don't really care and would rather.
But how do you fix that? Because I think this is where I run out of gas. I have nothing else to say
to add
because I don't know. I'm not the Minister of Education. I don't know how you fix that. I don't know what the solution is. I don't know how you engage pupils again. I don't know where it's gone wrong and how to I think it's just been like a build-up of stuff over so many years and so many generations that now it's almost like the whole system needs an overhaul.
Potentially. Or you could look at it this way. This is what I think about it. I don't have the solution to fixing it either.
You're like, However, Liz Truss. I'm your man.
Liz Truss, if you're watching this, which of course you are, because who isn't? Exactly. Please get in touch. No. I think the way to look at it is not we need to overhaul the whole thing. Because that's never, like, you can't boil the ocean.
No. And also you can't stop educating everyone for a year and then start with a clean slate.
Right, this is the new and improved version. Everyone
on the 1st of January.
I think the main problem and why so many people are disengaged with it, and it happens at different ages, is that at one point or another, everyone realizes it's bullshit. everyone who is studying a subject realizes, okay, like, I've been studying this for a month. I could have got the information on my phone in 30 milliseconds.
Yeah.
In the time that it's taken me to learn all this information. Why do I need to retain this? Why am I doing this? What is the point? And I think once you realize that, you then, to a certain extent, stop caring about it. How do we fix that? I don't know. But I think one thing that we could do is to advocate for real world work more than we do.
Yeah.
I didn't have my first job until I was 19, which is poor form from me, really.
Very poor form. I started when I was 14.
You did.
Just saying.
But do you know what? And I think you starting work at 14 probably somewhere down the line had an influence on your decision not to go to university.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. God, it's weird to think. Quick segue. I've got 10 years of hospitality experience. I don't think I'm old enough to have 10 years.
You've got more than me.
I know.
You're younger than me.
What's going on?
Yeah.
That's so odd.
10 years is crazy.
10 years is crazy.
You sound
wild.
old.
I know.
How old are you? 24 and you got 10 years.
10 years of hospitality experience. I don't have any other experience in anything. Hospitality, I've got it covered.
But that is great.
Yeah.
I think that's great. And I think the earliest opportunity to get into the real world and start earning some money and start understanding how things work and how companies work and how jobs work and what jobs even are, I think the better. And I think the problem with school, education, university is it almost delays that process.
Because a lot of people don't get their first job until after university. By that point, how old are you when you graduate? 23, 24?
Yeah.
So my age. Imagine if I'm just going out now to get my first job.
Which is the position I was in 3 years ago.
That's insane.
Yeah.
By 24...
You have no
and you're just figuring out how payroll works.
A lot of people will have part-time jobs at uni, but
some people
not
won't.
to the extent of like you have to now run your own life. Like you're responsible for your bills. You're responsible. Like uni is almost like you get a little bit of a taste of the real world.
And it almost feels a little bit immoral that you take people from school where they're spoon-fed to uni where they're semi-spoon-fed. And then you put them in the real world and you go, right, you're on your own now. And they have to sort themselves out with zero experience or knowledge of how to do that. Like, I know you live in halls and whatever, and then in first year and then you find your own place. But still, it's like uni accommodation.
Yeah.
It's still very different to being in the real world. And
I think so.
Not sharing
I think a lot
with
of graduates,
7 mates.
I don't know this for sure, but from what I've seen in my experience, I think a lot of graduates struggle with that transition. Because it's also like, you were one of the smartest kids and you went to a good uni and now you're working at a job where everyone's got 20 years more experience than you and you're actually doing the shit
and you're
work.
bottom of the pecking order now, even though you've always been top. You've always been at the best at school. You've always been at the best at uni, at the top of your game. And now you're going in and you feel like you're clueless about something. Crazy. But that's what I would say. That is the number one thing I would say is like get into work as soon as you possibly can. Because then it also, I think I was in a position at 18 where I had no idea what I wanted to do, but I was just good at maths and physics. So therefore I'm going to do engineering. Yeah. If I'd actually worked before that and done a couple of things before that, I think I would have a better idea of what I like and what I don't like. And it's almost... I would say, actually, maybe as a piece of advice, which is not something that I did, but maybe try a different job. Like, while it doesn't matter, while you're bills and your mortgage and your family don't depend on it, do different stuff. Like, if you're like, oh, hospitality, obviously if you go into hospitality and you're like, this is the best industry ever, I want to do this forever, great, stay in it. But like, if you're like, oh, this isn't really for me, like try retail, try marketing, try different stuff.
I think there's a lot of opportunity. And eventually
you will find something that you love.
Yeah.
You'll find something you're really good at. You'll find something you can do, you know, without maybe going down the traditional route or going down a slightly different educational path, you know?
Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of opportunity to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think if you find yourself at the right place, and I do think Fika is one of those places, you know.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. Not that this is all legal.
Work other jobs unless you work at Fika, in which case you have to stay here forever.
I do think if you land yourself at a company that's somewhat forward thinking and that understands that your development is also crucial to the success of the company, I think there is an opportunity to progress a lot further and a lot quicker than you might have otherwise. And I could genuinely see a scenario where someone comes in to Fika Stanford to wash pots at 14 years old, and 10 years down the line at 24 years old, if they liked it, they become a business partner. Yeah. Not in Fika, but in another business, in something that we have interest in. I can see that happening. Yeah.
I agree.
And I'm sure you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can as well. So that at 24 years old, as opposed to 24 just coming out of university, starting at the bottom of the pecking order.
And I do think it's important to say, because I think we've just sat here and completely annihilated university and ever thinking about going into further education. And I don't think that is the case. And I think there's, like you said, I think there is certain subjects and what are they called? I can't think of the word. Say again.
Elective?
No, you know, like medicine and law is like
degrees.
No, they're like you
specializations.
No, don't worry about it. They, like you have to do if you want to be a doctor. You're not just going to go into a hospital and be like, oh, can I work on reception for a bit and then become a GP? Like you have to go to uni and study medicine.
Yeah.
Same with like law and all of that. And I definitely think for those degrees and for people who have grown up always wanting to do that, uni is the way forward. Then you can get into the whole discussion of like which uni, whatever, and which way you decide to do it. But I do think in that case, there is this way to do it or you can't do it. Yeah. But I think for most people that we're talking about...
Most people, when they leave school at 18,
they can decide...
don't know that they for sure want to be a doctor.
Do you know what? This is... Out of this whole episode, this is going to be my biggest piece of advice. Everyone take a year out after school. Do not go straight into uni. Don't go straight into work. For what? At that age, what do you...
What was the reason?
For what? For what? No, but especially, of course, like if you have personal circumstances, if you need money, like go into work. But if you are not in a position where you need to be making money and have no time, or you need to, you know, or if you're about to be a baby daddy or a baby mama, if you're not in a position like that, if you have some time on your hands and if you don't need to start worrying about money just yet and your parents are happy for you to live at home for a bit longer, whatever, everyone take a year out. Do a bit of traveling, I'd say, for everyone, whether that's just traveling.
I've never met anyone that's gone traveling and thought, that was shit.
I wish I hadn't done that. Or even if it's just traveling within the UK, just go out and see the world a little bit. It'll give you a lot of thinking time. Yeah. And you can always decide to go to uni after that year. I don't see any reason to rush into it at all.
I think that's the main point. Like, don't rush into it. If you're not sure...
Think about your decisions and don't... There will be people that are like, oh, uni's the best thing for you. Just like make your own decision on that.
Yeah.
Think about your options. Also, I'd say there's nothing wrong with going and trying it out for a semester and deciding you don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, again, take a year out, do that. I think that's the best way to do something because even if I'd done that, I would have no regrets because I'd think like, oh, I've tried it. Yeah. I didn't like it. It wasn't for me. but I've tried it.
Then you get the best of social life. You do
Exactly.
freshers. By the end of the first semester, everyone's bored of
I'd
going
be
out
knackered
anyway.
anyways.
So, yeah, it's best time to
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest advice and the biggest thing I would say to
Yeah.
anyone leaving school now.
Have a think
time.
about it, and think about the financial implications as well.
Yeah.
I think in the UK, I will give this to the UK education system as opposed to the US, is that the way that loans work is much better.
Yeah.
That you only,
Much more accessible.
Much more accessible. You only start paying it back after a certain amount.
Yeah.
You only pay back a certain amount.
And it's not really
affordable.
something that looms over your head, I wouldn't say.
No, whereas I don't know the rules in absolute detail in the US, but from what I know is that it works just like a regular loan.
Yeah.
I think you also can't go bankrupt from it. You can go bankrupt from like any other loan, but that is always something that you need to pay.
That's bad.
I think that's the case.
Yeah, but we're in the UK.
But we're in the UK, so I will give that to the UK education system. I like the
But
financial
still, it
implications
is a
only come later.
consideration because you now do have that to consider,
I do.
and I don't.
Yeah.
And that's something it never even passes through my head.
Yeah, it's not that it's going to cripple me financially.
It's just more annoying.
It's just annoying because I'm like, I'm not sure if this was. Not me. Anyway,
back to very serious topic.
Back to the podcast. It's not that it'll cripple me financially. It's more just like I'm sitting here thinking I've got 70 grand to pay back.
Yeah,
it increases with inflation. Inflation's at like 13% at the minute.
It's not looking good for you.
It's not looking good. I'm going to have to pay back like 200 grand. And I'm not sure I even got 200 quid's worth of value from it. So it's more just annoying.
Yeah.
But
we move.
It is what it is. I think bottom line is if you live and breathe a subject.
And it's all you want to do in life.
That requires going to university.
Do it.
Do it. If you're on any level unsure about what you want to do, or if the subject that you want to go into, business and marketing, for example, doesn't require a university degree, if there's other avenues to go down, just have a think about it.
Have a think about it. Take
Explore your
some time
options.
out. Talk to
there's
people
apprenticeships
as well.
You can get straight into places.
Talk to people who have been to uni. Talk to people who haven't been to uni.
Network.
Come talk to me and Eva. We'll give you a very balanced
viewpoint.
viewpoint.
Actually, come talk. There's how many? What did I say earlier about the statistics on this podcast? I think over 50% are under 27.
Yeah, and I imagine a lot of them are. Well, maybe not a lot, but some of them are
a good number.
School leavers / uni goers.
Even university graduates. If you find yourself in that position and don't know what to do, drop us a message. Yeah, drop us a message.
Yeah.
We'll tell you.
Yeah.
We know everything.
We are the oracles. Right. I think that's a good place to leave it. Have you got any questions, Rowan?
Have you got anything to add to that discussion? Because obviously, as a man that's gone to uni, you might have some opinions.
I would say that I'm in a similar boat to you, to be honest, but maybe a little bit less so. I feel that I did get a lot from university.
Did you go to university when it was £3 grand or 9
I did.
grand?
So mine is actually a third of the cost of yours, which isn't as bad.
Yeah,
so
gutted.
However, I feel like the social aspect was a huge part of it.
Okay.
I feel like I grew quite a lot as a person during that time. When it comes to the learning and education aspect, I don't think that I was at an age where I took it seriously enough, really, if I'm honest. And I ended up coming out with a grade lesser than I would have liked a first. I know I could have got a first, but I think I didn't apply myself like I would have maybe done now if I'd have known. But having said that, I still did learn a lot from it.
Yeah.
So it's a difficult one, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I feel like personally, with the degree that I did in media production, I probably could have learned a lot of things from from applying myself through the industry, like working with media production companies, or even just taking on an apprenticeship in media or something in some way. And I would have learned quite a lot in that in that way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's a case of like.
But then you might have not had the social life, and
It's always a
Exactly.
trade-off.
Yeah.
Everything's a trade-off. Like every path you choose, then you
There will be
lose everything
something
on the other
Exactly.
path.
Some of my best friends, some of the best friends I've made have been from uni.
Yeah.
And the experience.
And that's so different to what you were just saying about like you don't feel like the social life was really that big.
I do have some good
of it,
friends from
whereas
uni,
you
but-
do.
I mean, a huge part of it for me was that I got very involved in all the social groups, and I ended up running a DJ society, which ended up me teaching others how to DJ, and that was quite a big thing, I would say, in developing skills, interpersonal skills.
Yeah.
And, that was just one aspect of the social
Yeah.
side. I think that I got more from that side than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also think just to wrap it up, I think that leads on quite well. Just to say, well, not even leads on, but it more feeds into the whole not everyone's the same. So to
Yeah.
recommend uni for everyone is very flawed because
Yeah.
you've had such a different experience from uni to what you have. And I know, you were a few years apart, but it's still like everything that you've just said was not that big a deal about uni was Rowan's highlight of
Yeah.
uni. So I just think that goes to show like having this mentality of like uni's the only way forward peddled is
Yeah.
that's where like it's all going wrong.
Yeah.
And that uni's not right for everyone.
I think,
But it's also, for some people, it's perfect.
I think being aware of your options.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
like not just jumping into something because
Yeah.
your friends do or
Yeah.
because your parents tell you to do. Just being completely aware of your options and then
And knowing that there are options,
Yeah,
that it's
exactly.
not just like,
and also knowing that making a decision isn't the end of everything.
No.
You can change that decision. I ended up starting a course and I did it for a year and then I decided that it wasn't for me, so I switched courses and then started from the beginning. And
Yeah.
I hold no. I'm glad I did that.
Yeah.
Because it was the right thing to do.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you hear of so many people who go to uni and they drop out after a year. And you can say like, and I know even I said it, that it feels like a waste of a year, but you still have that option. You can drop out of 3 years if you want, if it's a 4-year course. Like, you always have, nothing is ever, especially I think at that age and at that stage in your life, nothing is set in stone when you can decide to like change course at any time of either drop out or change whatever subject you're doing, whatever course you're doing. So yeah, I think that's a good point. Really good point.
I think that's just brought something to my mind. When I actually did start to really enjoy university was in my final 2 years.
Yeah.
And I did exactly what you said, which was I joined societies and I joined so many different societies. And eventually I started to find things that I liked, and one of them was entrepreneurship, was an entrepreneurship society.
Yeah.
Look at me now. Big time entrepreneur.
Businessman of the year.
But no, I think that's a great point. I think if
Yeah.
you're going to go to uni, yes, maybe your course is important, especially if you're doing something like engineering or law or medicine. It is important. But I would say, I would recommend at least 50% of your time is spent on other things, joining societies, sport, if you're into sport.
Yeah.
At least 50%, which is way more than I think is even practical for
Yeah.
a lot of people, because coursework does take a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But try and keep that to a minimum.
Yeah.
Join as many societies as you
Eva,
possibly
you're going to
can.
have some parents come for you. after
Let them
this.
come for me. Come straight for me.
Sack off your
I will
uni
stand by
work,
it.
socialise only, go to
Yeah.
all the societies.
Because you will meet people and you will
Yeah.
learn a lot from those. And I would say probably for you, teaching other people to DJ, is just as important a skill as anything that you could have learned in your media course. Probably even more important because there's an element of like leadership there that comes with it. So I would, if you're going to go to uni, join as many courses as you possibly can get your hands on.
Yeah, I like that. Nice. Any questions from the panel?
Yeah, let me think. I know you've touched on it already, but maybe if you give a different answer, if there's something else. But if there was, is there any like subject that you guys are interested in that you've never had any other involvement in before, that you would like to learn about and educate yourself in, I guess? Because people do say that we're constantly people who strive for success are constantly learning, and you never stop educating yourself in areas of life.
Yeah.
So, are there any areas or subjects that you would like to start from the beginning at? That you don't know anything about?
We all know mine. Law.
But apart from law, is there anything else?
No.
Anything
No.
else?
Really?
I would like to be fluent in a couple more languages.
Which languages?
Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese. I feel like those 4 are, when you learn a couple of them, I reckon the others are quite easy to learn.
Fall into
And I
place.
already know I've dipped
Probably
my toe
not
into
Chinese.
I
for
didn't say
example.
Chinese though, did I?
No, I'm saying that they probably wouldn't fall into
Yeah.
place.
I think, and I've already dipped my toe in with Spanish and French.
Yeah.
Tiny bit Portuguese. So yeah, and I think actually if I went and spent, bless you. Bless you.
Thank you.
I think if I went and spent a month in Spain, I'd probably be fluent. Maybe not a month, but yeah, so languages has always been like a big thing for me. Yeah, I think that's my answer. And law. I am going to do the law degree once. I'm saying it live on air.
I've made a bet with you, haven't I?
You have, yeah. The law degree is one day going to happen.
I said that I will pay for Tia's law degree if she completes it.
But also, where are you going? I don't have faith that you have this money. So
it's in like 6 years' time.
It's coming straight from Fika.
yeah.
That's
Evo, what's this big payment for to the Open University?
No, you have to complete the degree and then
Yeah.
I'll reimburse
And I also
you.
have to get a first.
And you have to get it first.
I not only have
You
to
can't
complete-
just like pass.
But I can take as long as I want to do it.
Yeah, which means we're going to be 40 by the
You're
time
still going to
we
be doing this podcast like, 90 years ago I started my law degree.
Now Evo's bankrupt.
And I've not finished the law degree. Plot twist. What about you?
Subjects I would like to do. I think languages is a good one.
Yeah.
Things I would like to learn.
Just it's so helpful
Yeah.
in all spheres of life.
Yeah.
You're never going to regret knowing a language or
Yeah.
learning a language, are you?
Interesting. This is probably a topic for another discussion. But I think you almost develop like a slightly different personality in another language. I'd say my personality in Bulgarian is different to my personality in English.
I agree with that.
And when I sometimes speak Spanish, I feel that I have a different personality.
Young bones, you'll show it a
Has some chest hair poking out, a red wine sweat.
I've got my legs crossed a bit more. Wearing loafers.
So funny. Yeah. So you're just copying my answer.
No, I have some different answers as well. DJing is something I'd love to learn.
Oh,
and
yeah,
something
you
that
like
you've
a
been
bit of DJing.
showing me a little bit. Music.
I've
and
tried
DJing.
my hand at that and I'm fucking shocking at
Well,
it.
you've only tried your luck at that when we've been
We're not
like half
4
drunk.
margaritas deep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did understand it more than most recent time I did it. I think that's because Rowan was showing me, not you. When you were showing me, I was like, this is so confusing.
Well, I don't know anything about it, so I don't know what I was showing you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
DJing, and I've always said this, and I think you've always found this answer a bit weird from me. But I really like to do practical things, so I think I would love to do something like carpentry. I used to love DT at school. I used to love building things. I wouldn't say I'm the best handyman. I would definitely say I'm quite far from it. But if
But you
I
get
had
the job
someone-
done.
I do get the job done. And if I had someone to learn from
Yeah.
that could say, this is what we're doing, this is how we're doing it,
Yeah.
follow my instruction, I think I would enjoy that.
I couldn't disagree with that more.
About me or about you?
No, about me.
Yeah.
I hate DIY with a passion. I think we should end on a funny story and then we can wrap it up.
Yeah, please.
Tom
know
and
the
I
story,
bought. No, you don't, because
Oh,
this
no,
only
I'm
happened
not.
this
I
weekend.
thought you were going to tell a story about the pipes at Fika.
Oh, don't remind me. Tom and I bought one of those IKEA Kallax units this weekend on Facebook Marketplace.
A Kallax also is not a difficult unit to DIY.
Incorrect.
It's not.
No.
All right. Whatever. I think the only 2 times that Tom and I have been very close to breaking up, sorry, 3, is 1, when we put my bed together in our old house, 2, when we put my bed together in the new house, and 3, this weekend when we built this Galaxy unit. It took us about 10 minutes, and 30 seconds in, I was like, I'm so angry. I hate everything about DIY. And I'm just going to end it on that story. Yeah.
Don't do DIY with Tia.
No, don't. I will get so angry for no reason whatsoever. Like, the screw will be going in the right place, and I'll be like, it's not working. It's not working. We need to stop. We need to pay someone to come and do this. Right.
Any other questions, or are we finishing off?
We can peace it out.
Finish off. Peace out.
Peace out.
Peace out. Thank you for that. Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening. And we'll be back in 2 weeks' time.
See you then.
Bye. Pass out.